I noticed some similarities to Yakuza Like a Dragon and another series I was watching at the time, and now that I've completed that series, I've realized that Like a Dragon is the best One Piece game ever made. Now, I know I'm the game essayist, so my usual audience might be a bit lost when I talk about anime. Still, I've left some hints throughout my previous videos that I'm a fan of this series, so I'll take this opportunity to announce that I am in fact a terminal weeb, and One Piece is my favourite non-interactive piece of media. So please indulge me for this rare opportunity I have to talk about One Piece, and hey, I did find a way to tie it into a video game. Ichiban is the clearest example of Like a Dragon being inspired by Eiichiro Oda's masterpiece, as he embodies the core ideals of Luffy to an absurd degree. He has an earnest heart and an unshakable dream that he'll do anything to achieve, no matter the odds. I love how he never doubts himself for a second, and is always charging headfirst towards reuniting with Arakawa. You can't help but feel infected by his positivity, the same way you do when you watch Luffy. His character design is also quite similar to the future King of the Pirates. Both wear a red suit and have a large round ornament covering their head. Now maybe it's a bit silly to compare an afro to the straw hat, but don't forget that when Luffy had an afro, it was undoubtedly his strongest form. Saiko is another clear example of One Piece inspiration, as she is based on Nami. She's the most intelligent of the early party members, as Nami was with the East Blue crew. She has a knack for making money through her club, and isn't afraid to be a little teasing. The most prominent piece of comparison to Nami is her origin story and her relationship with her sister. While Nami wasn't solely motivated by helping Nojiko, that was a big part of her reason for working for Arlong all those years. Similarly, Saiko takes a job as a hostess in order to help keep an eye on her sister, whom she desperately wants to protect, and she's willing to get her hands dirty in order to keep the most precious person in the world to her safe. Her introductory arc is also similar to Arlong Park, where she has to rely on people she initially doesn't respect in order to help her. She seems resistant to Ichiban, but over time she develops a strong bond with them and becomes a genuine crew member. Next is Nanba, and this guy is an amalgamation of so much One Piece I don't even know where to begin. Let's start with Zoro. This is the weakest comparison, as the only similarities I can see here are the green colour scheme and the desire to nap frequently. His other inspirations are considerably more robust. Next is Usopp. Namba is the most negative out of all the party members, and is the polar opposite of Ichiban's positivity. Namba feels as though he's the weakest party member, and he's holding the rest of the crew back. Despite this, he always goes along with whatever crazy plan Ichiban cooks up, despite massive objections. Still, instead of cowardice like Usopp, Nanba is more coming from a place of common sense, although arguably Usopp is too. Personality-wise, he's similar to Law, with his severe and tsundere attitude not really reflective of any of the Straw Hats, but it fits with the Surgeon of Death perfectly. As well as his history as a doctor, I'd say that Law is a major inspiration to him. Lastly, his arc is similar to Robin's. He leaves the crew behind because he's scared of involving them in his twisted life, and ends up joining Bleach Japan, who are an allegory for the world government, whilst the Aegean Three represent the four emperors. With these chapters being a retelling of Enies Lobby, it's only fitting that Ichiban and the rest of the crew charge into the heart of the enemy, declaring war on them and saying they're going to take their friend back. The rest of the characters aren't so easy to pin down, aside from Arakawa representing Whitebeard and Shanks, which is something I like. They didn't just make a copy of One Piece and put it into a Yakuza game. They had their own original ideas, and infused them with character traits and themes of One Piece. That's how you do inspiration the right way, without coming off as a rip-off. With Infinite Wealth almost here, it looks like a Dragon is leaning even more into its One Piece theming, with the tropical Hawaii and exuberant colour scheme that's made the anime such a visual treat coming up in this next installment. Time will tell if certain parts of Like a Dragon's story will emulate any of One Piece's famous arcs, but I'm looking forward to seeing where Like a Dragon is going to take us next. Side note, if Kiryu dies before going back to Morning Glory, I am going to lose my goddamn mind.